All right. Well, hi everyone. It's Mark and Myrna here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Great to be with you today. We logged on a couple minutes early just to make sure technology is in our favor this time. Because last time, well, here's the problem. All this technology is only as good as the person operating it, and that would be me. So, Mark, we're going to have some fun today. We've got some good stuff to share with everybody.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Now, I can't sing a song. Of course, you and I both know that, but to pass the next minute, you could sing a song.
Are we waiting a minute?
We're waiting a minute. Yeah,
I think I'm
absolutely.
going to close the door in my office because I'm hearing an echo. Maybe other people are hearing that echo.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Just make sure we are good to go. Okay. Oh, there's Daisy. Oh my gosh, Daisy, I am so glad you are here. And yeah, you couldn't resist because you get the Mark and Myrna at the show today. Hey, Mark, Daisy's logging in from Los Angeles.
Hey, Daisy.
Great to
Welcome.
have you here. All right. Well, we've got just a few more seconds to go here. You know me, I like to be very punctual.
Yes, you do.
That's why, the other fun thing about doing this together is that people get to learn a little bit more about our relationship. Like you want them to know any of that.
I'm trying to figure out how to not look at the computer screen so I don't get a glare in my glasses.
I know it's hard. Well, that's hard to do. That is
You
definitely
have to
hard to
almost
do.
like turn your head sideways, just look straight on, and you just got this glare.
Right. Well, and you know what? We might need to powder the top a little bit next time too.
Oh,
Rochelle
little
is
a
here
little
from
furniture polish.
Little Furniture Polish. Rochelle's here from Regina, Saskatchewan. Rochelle, do you guys have any snow
Yeah,
yet? I know that it's been crazy back home in Canada where we're from, and
snowing.
all across the provinces. In fact, I think they shut down some highways in Calgary yesterday.
Yeah, I
That's
heard there was a big um, semi tractor trailer flipped over and
oh
blocked
boy,
the both north and south.
ooh, that's scary. Very scary. All right. Well, we've got the top of the hour, so let's get things underway. Again, welcome everyone. For those of you that are possibly joining us for the very first time, I am Myrna, and this is my husband Mark, and we're just excited to be on this great platform here at LinkedIn and to meet other people like ourselves that are moving and grooving and making things happen. So we are going to have some fun with a series of these over the next several weeks. But today we decided that we wanted to start with three common mistakes that we see people make. And maybe I should start off by telling you all that we've been working together and working from home for nearly 3 decades. I know it's hard to believe. We don't look that old, but we're both 56. Okay. So we've been working together actually even prior to having our own business. We worked together. So it's been more than 3 decades. But we've worked in the home-based business, network marketing industry for, again, nearly 3 decades. And over all that time, gosh, so many people that we've met, go from different business to different business. And it seems as though there's really three common mistakes that we've narrowed down that we often see them make. So we thought we'd start off by talking a little bit about those because right now, with everything that's going on in the world, with the economy and inflation and the great resignation and people looking for that gig that's perfect for them, perhaps our 3 decades of experience can just give you a little insight how to make some better decisions for what's next for you. So maybe you're even wondering if there is anything next for you, but we're here to tell you there definitely is. So Mark, let's jump in and talk about, the first mistake that we often see people making when trying to find the perfect gig for themselves.
Okay. Well, we called this talk today the three fatal mistakes. I know fatal sounds like a pretty harsh word, but if you're going to invest any time in your life into something, if you make a mistake and that invested time is now lost, you can't get that time back, right? And that's the one thing that we all have a limited amount of. And in some ways, we waste the most of, right? So we want to make sure we invest our time into the right thing. And sometimes that's just making sure you're not making one of the three fatal mistakes. So number one is people oftentimes think that they've got to get involved in something on the ground floor. How many times have you heard somebody say, oh, they made money because they got in on the ground floor, or I need to find something that I can get in on the ground floor? That saying, ground floor. You've probably heard it. Maybe even have found yourself thinking it. So let me give you some stats. And I wrote these down because I wanted to make sure I was 100% accurate with the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. According to their research, traditional businesses, so this is, of course, there's all kinds of different businesses, but just traditional businesses of all sorts, in the first year, 20% fail. So 1 out of 5 businesses will not ever make it to their first year in business. That's a high number.
That's
By
really
5
high.
years, 50% have failed. Now remember, this is traditional business we're talking about here. And by year 15, 75% of businesses have failed. So when you think about the millions and millions of businesses there are just in the United States alone, to think of the fact that sometime between now and 15 years from now, 75% of them won't still be in business, for new businesses, that is, that's crazy, isn't it? And
Mhm.
so when you think about the ground floor, what are you prepared to gamble? It's kind of like gambling, isn't it? Now that's traditional business. When it comes to multi-level marketing, home-based type businesses, 99% will fail within 15 years. 99%. And actually, a huge majority of those is in the first 5 years, but 99% will not make it to 15 years. And when you think about it, just for us alone, we're in almost 3 decades now working from home. I don't even think I could list all the businesses that have come and gone, but according to just looking at those businesses that were started over those 30 years, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of them over 30 years, hundreds a year, it would be really tough. Maybe some of our listeners can do this as just a fun exercise, but it would be really tough, I think, to come up with 20 companies that you could think of that have been in business for over 20 years. It would be tough. I think we probably could all come up
Yeah.
with 7 or 8, maybe 10, but man, coming up with 20 would be tough. And there's been thousands of companies start since we have been working from home. And so, when you think about ground floor, then if you're looking at home-based type businesses, getting onto the ground floor is almost 99% chance of failure. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that really makes sense. I think sometimes people say they want to get on the ground floor because they know it's going to be basement within a few years and they want to make a little money while they can. And certainly I've met people in especially the multi-level marketing industry. There's all kinds of different home-based businesses, direct sales, party plan, but especially people who get involved with multi-level marketing type of companies. I've met a certain type of person, not all, maybe a small percentage, but a certain type of person that just seems to feed off of getting in the next new one and getting in the next new one and getting in the next new one. And oftentimes you'll find there's a couple leaders that are always the ones to get in first and make money, and the followers don't. And sometimes I say to people, why would you be following someone for the third, fourth, fifth time when you haven't made money and they're always the one that seemed to make the money, right? So that's the first fatal mistake people make. And when you think about ground floor too, what are you supposed to say to somebody 5 years from now or 10 years from now if you're promoting that the best time to get started is when it's ground floor? That's almost like you're setting yourself up for a failure in the future, because what are you going to say? Well, you should have joined us 20 years ago, but we need someone to keep the whole thing rolling, so get in now, right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to set your business up that it's a better business on ground floor than it will be years from now. Think about penny stocks. There's a reason why penny stocks are penny stocks, because 99.9% of them never get to dollar stocks, right? And if you're going to invest in a time-tested, proven, successful company, then you're not going to get it for pennies a share, right? But you also know that your risk of losing your money is very, very mitigated, if not impossible, when you make the right investment choices. So you have to look at businesses the same way.
Mark, I find as well that often the ground floor situation is often something that's really trendy. Like last year, or even the year before, it was like the keto diets. Like everybody was getting into the keto diet thing. And, there was different companies out there, but I don't know if any of them are there today. Or there's Bitcoin. There is, I remember the coffee deals that were out there. There's always new weight loss deals, again, like the keto thing. So you really,
That's true. That's true. They tend to be
right?
trendy kind of things that come and go. Diet deals and juices. We're all the juice companies,
Juices,
and yeah, I mean, whatever the hot trend tends to be.
right?
But again, if you're
CBD,
yeah, if you're looking at as a whole, just being very non-emotional about looking at something, if you just look at an industry that has about a 99% failure rate, then you really got to make sure that you're making the decision based on something that can stand the test of time and not just buy into this whole ground floor hype. All right,
yes.
so the second fatal mistake people often make, and this is maybe even more common, is they get involved in something because their friend told them about it. Right? That's a big mistake. Now you might be shocked because listen, networking is all about relationship marketing, right? That's what we do. We relationship market. So why wouldn't I think joining my friend is a good thing? Well, of course, if you want to support your friend, then support your friend's business. I'd much rather see you shopping from friends that have products that are offered through direct marketing where their family gets to benefit from it. We, of course, would love to support each other, support our friends in their business, right? But supporting your friend in their business and becoming their business partner are two different things. And a lot of times people just jump in because their friend's doing it. Well, what experience does your friend have? What track record does your friend have? Did your friend ask any questions? Who are they being supported by? Did they ask any questions about the company that they're involved with? Who's running the company? Who started the company? How long have they been in business? All the things that you might look at if you were looking at investing in a business. A lot of times we don't ask those questions because our friend told us about it and we love our friend, and maybe they got a product that we've tried and we liked it. And we're like, yeah, I want to get in business with my friend. But there's so much more behind it than just being involved with your friend, right? So that's a common mistake people make. And I ask people over the years when they tell me their sob stories about something that didn't work out for them. And then my favorite question is, well, how did you get involved in that in the first place? And almost always, well, my friend, my friend called me. And so that's a common thing. So if your friend and you love each other and you want to work together, maybe you need to sit down and say, well, let's evaluate what we're going to work together on. Make sure we make a good decision together.
Right. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, number three.
Number three.
And number three is we're probably all guilty of this at some point in time about all the things that we do in our life. But number three is people, the extent of the research and investigation they'll do into a company is just Googling it. Okay, that's it. Oh, I Googled it. I did my research. I Googled it. Well, okay. Well, I'm sure you've experienced as much as I have that you might be shopping sometime on an online store and you read the reviews and there's a bunch of 5-star reviews and there's a couple 1-star reviews and you think to yourself, how can these two people be so far apart with their reviews, right? Just for fun one time, I Googled Verizon Wireless.
Oh, yeah.
Because Myrna and I have been Verizon customers for 30 years. We've never experienced any technical issues. We've always had great service. And we're very satisfied customers with Verizon. But just for fun, I Googled one time to see what people were saying. Oh my goodness, I had no idea what a horrible company they are.
I know, right?
And here's the other thing. One of the big things online these days is for companies to pay for reputation management. So if there's anything bad out there that they want to have buried, then they can bury it too. And so I think a lot of people think they're doing their research by just Googling something. Oh, I read a couple negative things, so that's it. Oh, everything I read was positive, so I decided to join this company. Guys, I remember reading in the paper one time, the old paper, the online paper, about a local restaurant that got busted because they were literally getting their friends and family and staff member to post negative reviews on Yelp about one of their competitors in the same town that was close by. And so, I always think about if you're going to really evaluate a business, why don't you look at it up close and personal? Go see the operation, talk to people that work corporately, ask the right questions. the people that you're going to be teaming up with. Ask them the right questions. Ask to see the book, so to speak. A fatal mistake people make when I say they're Googling it is that they're really not doing any research at all. If you were going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into a business, you'd certainly want to see the books. You wouldn't just Google and say, oh, a couple people online said it's a great company, so here's my $500,000 for your franchise, right? You would never do that. You'd want to see the books up close and personal so that you could make an informed decision based on the facts, not based on just a quick Google search. And so I find people make that fatal mistake too.
Right. So it's, and I see that all the time. I feel like I know someone recently that did that. It was all an emotion. Like when I started asking her some questions, she's like, well, I'm not sure. Well, I never looked at that. And I thought, gosh, I love you, but you maybe just, put your brakes on, pump the brakes and go back now and do some more research. And listen, if the closer you look, the better it looks, and you get your answers, then you should know, okay, I am making a great business decision. But if you've got any red flags, so you're not sure, pump the brakes and go back and do that deep dive outside of Google. Without a doubt. I know for ourselves, we even jumped on a plane and brought people out so that, they could touch, feel, smell, and understand what they're going to be a part of. We're willing to make that investment, right?
Yeah, we always love to get people exposed to the brick and mortar of the business. These days, so many things can look so good online. Anybody can have a splashy web page. Anybody can have a really cool marketing video that makes it sound like this is the best thing in the world. But then there's nothing behind the facade. Think of all the things that go into supporting you in a business, whether it's customer service. I mean, think of a startup company today trying to hire good labor, and good customer service is so important. How about IT support? All those types of things. It literally probably takes millions and millions of dollars to properly support people who are working in the home-based arena. So even though it might not be a big investment for you to get started in a certain business, the company that's supporting you, someone has to have made an investment there. And so just a quick little Google search is not going to cut it. You got to do a little deeper dive and really ask the right questions and see the right information. So,
all right. So we wanted to just wet their whistle a little bit because we have lots more to come in the weeks to come. Let's tell them. So, yeah.
So what we've done, Myrna, is because I didn't want this to be like, okay, great, now you told me 3 mistakes, but how do I do a proper evaluation, right? So we thought what we do is over the next few weeks, I think maybe we'll break it up into 3 weeks, perhaps 4. We'll see how long. We don't want to go too long. But we've kind of put 10 what I'm calling critical components that you can use to properly evaluate something you might be considering. And these are very objective type things that would make sense. Probably most of them would make sense if you were evaluating any sort of business, even if you were about to buy a business or start a conventional business from scratch. But certainly if you're thinking of putting some time into teaming up with someone and joining some sort of a business that's already in business from the home-based arena, these are critical components that you need to look at and evaluate to ensure you don't have to keep starting over and you could do something that could last a lifetime. So we're going to start with that critical list of components next week. So come on back and see us.
Well, same time, same place. And listen, for some of you, you might want to invite a friend or two to assess things with you to learn these critical steps. That's something that we did when we got started looking at things. We looked at over 300 business ideas before making a decision. 300. Not 2, not 3, 300. So it's not like you have to do 300 as well, but because we've done the work for you. I don't want to suggest that, but let us help you. Come back next week. I so appreciate everybody that logged in today, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye for now.
Thanks, Mark.